Hello everyone and welcome to Meeple Leaf Reviews. I'm Jeffrey Weber and today I'm going to be doing my top 10 games as of 2018. We're finally here to my top 10, my 10 most favorite games as of right now. So let's start off with number 10, Food Chain Magnate. Another game where it's all about trying to make the most money, and in this game you're running a fast food franchise and you're going to be competing with your opponents for demand from these different houses. The cool thing about this game is that it has this concept of reaction time. When you're going to be responding to what other people are doing out on the board, whether it's opening new restaurants or perhaps marketing different types of food or beverages, you're going to need to perhaps buy new cards and then wait till next turn to play them. And then in the case of some cards like making more markets, you have to wait for yet another turn for them to take effect. So you need to be anticipating what people are potentially going to be able to do, as well as turn order being very important. If you go early, you are giving people a heads up of what you're doing so they can respond in that turn. Whereas if you go last and do something unexpected, then it's not going to be till the next turn before people can buy maybe the appropriate cards, and then another turn before they can play them out and act on those new cards that they bought. So you can really get a heads up and capitalize on that action. So really cool how you're interacting and trying to react to each other. The other thing in this game is very much a function of what you do in those first couple rounds. You're going to be setting up your corporate structure and then letting it play out and making tweaks here and there based on what other people are doing. But very much based on those first few turns are very crucial in the game. I really like Food Chain Magnate. Now my number 9 is Through the Ages. This game was my number 11 the last time I did the list, so this is another one that has risen up. Civilization, the computer game, is one of my favorite video games of all time. I really like starting off with very little and then building up towards hopefully having a lot at the end of the game, and you get to do this in Through the Ages. You get to start with just the bare bones of a civilization and really steward it throughout time. You're trying to balance science and culture and food and ore and trying to make sure that you stay up with the progression of time that has this card conveyor belt that kind of mimics the ages going by, and you feel like you need to keep up with the technology, the different wonders that are coming out, and you're trying to be efficient and you have limited actions, you can't do everything, and the tough decisions that go in with all of that in Through the Ages makes it really cool. And then at the end you get to look down and have a look at the civilization that you built throughout the game. Really cool, Through the Ages. Now my number 8 is another civilization game. This one was number 5 on the last time I did this list, and that is Imperial Settlers. It's also the only game that I don't currently own. I do have a couple friends who own the game, but I don't get to play it as often because they own it, so I'm thinking of picking the game up myself. I mean, it's in my top 25 games of all time. I should own it, right? So in Imperial Settlers, it's different than the civilization building of Through the Ages. Rather than trying to balance all these different things that you're doing, Imperial Settlers is more of a puzzle. You're drawing these different cards and you're going to want to play them out into your tableau to give you different abilities. And at the beginning of every round, I look at it and it's like a puzzle. It's like, how do I use the resources that I have and the cards that I have, and in what order do I play them so that I can get all these cards utilized to their best ability to help progress my civilization. The other thing that's cool about this game is that there's different factions that you can play that play very differently, and I really like trying to beat my old score with a faction. So it's not only about beating your opponent in the game, it's about beating myself from game to game, and I like games where I can try and do that. The other thing with Imperial Settlers with the expansions is there's kind of a deck building component that you can do for each faction before the game starts, so you can try and customize the faction towards your play style to make it really different between factions and between a single faction from game to game. So that's my number 8 is Imperial Settlers. Now my number 7 is a game that's all about planning, and that is Lignum. Again, another game where you're trying to make the most money, but this time you're running a wood cutting enterprise. You're going to be cutting wood, transporting it, and then sawing it and selling it, hopefully for a profit, and then taking that money, reinvesting, and doing that over the course of 2 years. This game, like I said, is all about planning. It's about how far ahead can you plan? How many saws am I going to need? How many bears am I going to need to transport the wood? It also has this supply path that you're going to be traveling along. And this is where the player interaction really comes into play in trying to anticipate and evaluate how other people are valuing the different things along the supply path. How far ahead do I need to go to pick up the thing I really need, and do I have enough time to pick up something that I want along the way? Really cool, and there's these different planned work cards that kind of make some variability from game to game, and trying to figure out how do I combo the different cards together to make the most money. Really cool game, and that's Lignum. My number 6 is Inish. Now this is a kind of dudes on a map style game, and it's my favorite of that genre. And the reason for that is because it's not about combat. Combat doesn't give you anything in this game. It doesn't give you victory points. It doesn't do anything other than maybe preventing other people from winning at key times. So it's not about going out and just killing the other player, because sometimes one of the victory conditions is having opponents in the same territory as you and you being the chieftain over them. So the combat is very tactical, and it doesn't occur all the time. The other thing about the combat is deterministic. When you have a turn in the combat round, you just say you're attacking a certain player, and they either lose a figure or have to discard a card from their hand. So really a lot of control and a lot of tactics that go into combat, who you're going to be combating against and when. The other thing about Inish is the card pool that you're going to be using to take the actions is very small. It's a very intimate card pool. You really get to know the cards with multiple plays. So then it becomes more about anticipating what your opponents are going to do. You know what cards you have. You know what cards you passed around in the draft, and trying to anticipate when to play which cards and trying to achieve a victory. Really cool game. I really enjoy Inish. Now my number 5 is the ultimate efficiency race game. It's Cythe. This is where you're going to be taking different actions and trying to achieve different stars or achievements throughout the game. And whenever you put out your 6th star, that's going to trigger the end of the game. But the thing about this is there is no 7th, 8th, or 9th star. There's only 6. So choosing 6 things that you want to do during the game and trying to stick to that plan so that you don't get sidetracked and try and half do something else. It's really cool, the puzzle of your faction plus the other board that you get, and trying to figure out how am I going to work this puzzle to earn the most victory points throughout the game. Really cool Cythe. Now my number 4 game was number 3 previously on the list, and that is Time Stories. It's a scenario-based game where every expansion you get is another scenario that you're going to play through, and you get this huge deck of cards that you're going to be exploring throughout the game. And the thing that I love most about board games is a sense of discovery and a sense of exploration. And every time I sit down to play a Time Stories scenario, I get that feeling. I get that, like, what is going to be around the next corner? What am I going to experience throughout this deck of cards? Especially the later couple scenarios that I've played, they've really done some interesting things with the system that just really make me excited to play the next scenario and then the next scenario. I like the cooperative nature of the game and how you're going to not all have the same information available to you and how you relate it to the other people around the board. Really enjoy the experience of Time Stories. Now, my number 3 is technically a game system that incorporates 2 games, so cheating a little bit on this list, but it's the Terra Mystica system, so Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. I played Terra Mystica a lot. I really liked that game, and then Gaia Project came out, which is basically just an evolution of that game, and I think it just improves almost every single aspect of Terra Mystica. I really like the idea, again, of building up from little to having hopefully a lot at the end of the game, of building the different buildings to get more resources so that then you can build more, and then that evolution from the first turn to the last turn, and on that last turn, especially in Gaia Project, you can really accomplish a lot during the game. I really enjoy the system. I really enjoy the gameplay of the Terra Mystica system. Now, my number 2 is Arkham Horror, the card game. This is another scenario-based game, but the cool thing about this one is it has sort of a persistent element to it. You're going to be selecting a character, building a deck for that character, and then carrying them out through different scenarios in a campaign, and different things might happen. They might get hurt or gain special cards or special abilities as the campaign progresses. The other cool thing about the deck building in this game is that it hands it out a little bit piecemeal. You have a very limited card pool, well, a more limited card pool to start when you start your character, and then as you go through the different scenarios, you're going to earn experience points so that you can upgrade cards or change out cards in your deck. So rather than having this huge card pool to choose from at the beginning of a campaign, it pares it down to make it easier for that deck building, and then you get to customize as you go through, and it really feels like you're earning those level ups and those new cards as you play through the different scenarios. Really cool storytelling aspect as well. Again, not going back to what I said about time stories, of not knowing how the scenario is going to play out, and that sense of exploration as you play the game. Really cool Arkham Horror, the card game. Now, finally, my number 1 game as of 2018. This is a new game that came out in 2017 that really just grabbed hold of me, and I'm still really excited to play this game every time it hits the table, and that is Lisboa, where you are rebuilding the city of Lisboa after an earthquake and tsunami and fires. And the cool thing about this game is you have a bunch of tableau building that you can do by which shops you're going to build out to give you unlock different abilities. The cards that you play down into your tableau will give you special abilities as well. You have the rubble that you're going to get is going to upgrade your warehouse and allow you to store more or even play more cards down. And you have clergy tiles, which will give you even more special abilities. So the tableau building is really cool in how you can customize yourself to make you asymmetric to other players around the table. The multi-use cards in choosing how you want to use them, and the way that you can accomplish almost every single action a multitude of ways, and kind of just trying to figure out, how do I want to achieve this end goal? I could go this way, I could go that way. I can mix and match the two, and then trying to figure out what kind of strategy do I want to employ this game. Really cool. I really enjoy Lisboa. So that's it. That's my top 25 games as of 2018. Let me know what you think of my choices down in the comments below. And if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, go and hit the subscribe button as well. And we will see you guys next time.